Richard here, and we are back to our amazing community. Serve your time. I hope you're all doing well from wherever you are. It's been an amazing week for me so far. I'm grateful, and I'm really hoping that whatever it is that whoever listening from, you'll be able to overcome, or you're having a good time. So today's video, actually being the first week of September, I believe today is the 3rd. Yeah. I'm doing an evening, post, or rather episode, because, like I said, most of my majority of my videos really, are things that happen to me as and when I thoughts occur to me, and so yeah, so you bear with me. I'm not sure. The last time I actually checked, there was a bit of I think there was a voice lag in the last video I did. So I guess it was a bit, you know, not so clear. Whether it was clear, but I think I noticed that the voice, one of the two was behind each other, and I think it's partly because I was using the headphones. Anyway, this being the 3rd day of September, happy new month, September. Again, to all September babies, I know a couple of people within my circles, close to me, not close to me, and if you're listening in and you're September baby, happy birthday month, and wishing you the best. And actually, September is also special, again, particularly for me, because my lovely daughter Jane Chalimpa, is a September baby. So it always feel good to be celebrating. So this is for you September babies, and I'm wishing you the best, of luck in the new month, or the new year for that matter. Now, today I actually, to be very honest with you, and please, if you hear an alarm, I don't know what's happening, but there's a bit of I think something stepped on electric wire, I'm told, the fence, and there's a bit of alarm, and I'm hoping that it will die out soon. I actually waited a bit to start my video, because it was on and off. Thank God it's off. Let's hope it will not come back. So, but bear with me on that, and please give me your feedback in case you find something that I could improve on, or for the community, or we could add. It's always good to learn something new every other day. Now, today I actually really want to have a conversation, and I'm really curious, to be honest. I'd love to get feedback, from the community, because I want to talk about, this word I've always been hearing or thinking, called consistency, right? We have all, one way or the other, either heard of, used it, demanded of it, and I've been asking myself, okay, so of course this is based on my observations with people within my close circles, or even from a distance, and I've been wondering, what is really consistency? Is it possible that we as humans, we could be actually consistent in the inconsistency? Could inconsistency in itself be a form of consistency? And if not, what exactly is consistency, and how do we view it? Could it be a perception based on circumstances? Yeah, So I mean, if definitely the first thing that comes to mind for anyone, at least for me, when this when I hear the word consistency, is usually okay. Some level of reliability, predictability, in some cases routine, sort of personality or actions of an individual, mostly towards the other, or at least as or in their day to day, and when there's that level of predictability, steadiness, for the most part, then the obvious thing one would say is that that person is consistent. Now, again, if you observe, I've actually also been asking myself, would consistency in itself be a variable? Again, depending on, let's say, let's take an example, right? Of me, right, with this YouTube channel, right? So if I said I'll, for example, be doing a video every week, right? And I actually did a video every 7 days, that is consistency. At the same time, if like for me, we could have noticed, if you've been watching these videos from the word go, I'm always in either black t-shirt or something black, again, because I love black. In fact, I wear black, especially when it's not official, kind of dress code, or doing my official work as a lawyer. I mean, of course, I really don't have a choice, but for the most part, to either be smart casual or wear a suit, and because that's what it is, it's within the nature of what I do. But outside that, if you found me on a weekend or I'm traveling, I'll definitely be in black, from shoe to But again, at the same time, even for this particular channel, you'll find that I've been always wearing black t-shirt, black everything. Again, for me, it's purely because number one, I love everything black in terms of the color. Perhaps not even maybe because I'm black, but I don't think that's primarily it. I just love the color, and of course, it speaks a lot to me. Again, being African, and it has a lot of, I connect a lot with black. But then, now, me having or wearing black, okay, every time I come to this studio to talk about something with this amazing community. I mean, I've had people, loved ones and very close people to me, say, but then why don't you change? Why don't you change? You can wear something else. You don't really have to be, in black all the time. Again, and I have to explain, why I'm doing it. Again, because for me, it's, I just want to be, especially or particularly for this channel, this is my choice in terms of how I want to be seen, or at least physically, right? So in a way, I'm consistent, in wearing my black, but that consistency, right, in wearing black when it comes to this particular YouTube community, has been perceived by, close people to be, you know, it's boring. I mean, you know, or it's you need to change. Of course, once you explain to them, then the perspective changes, right? But again, you could see that it is within the nature when they when I get this sort of you know, conversations, you know, especially let's say on the dress code in particular, you know, for the most part, it's not just about black for the sake of wearing black. It would be, you know, maybe someone close to you thinks, people may think probably wearing, you know, the same thing, you know, you don't have a variety, you know, and generally, of course, imagine if you saw someone, again, if wearing exact same, you know, if I had 1,000 t-shirts, you know, exact make, exact color, in terms of how people would perceive it, regardless of how it affects me, because really for me it's not an issue. It would mean that to them, you know, you're doing the exact same thing, you know. So perhaps maybe you don't have a variety, or you're just simply too lazy, or it's just boring, you know. It's just human nature. However, that is me being consistent. And now take that example of a typical day, let's say dress, again sticking to dress to dress code, right? So on a normal day, or any normal person, right, ideally you'd want to dress differently, from shoe to, it's just within human nature, from shoe to hair. Every morning, especially if you are in the, whether informal or actually informal sector, it may not necessarily matter. You would want to, you know, majority of us wear something different every day, right? Now, the question is, are you consistent in what you're wearing? Simply because you're wearing something different, should we say every day, should we say you are inconsistent? Or are we saying that in that inconsistency, right, there's consistency, especially in terms of, you know, looking fresh, wearing something new, you know, brightening up the day, different shoes, different, you know, dress, or different shirt, different trousers, different, you know, tie or suit, you know. So in a way, you're being inconsistent in uniformity of what you wear, you know, on a daily basis. However, you're being consistent in actually freshening up your look, right? So, you know, isn't that in itself something to think about? Again, take an example, for example, in relationships, right? There's a level of appreciation when, let's say, you're providing, or you've started something, let's say with your partner, or with you know, within your close circles. Let's say, you know, you're supporting in one way, or, you know, maybe let's say you decide to, every Friday you bring, you know, chocolates and something. I mean, you could think of anything, you know. So if you do it where regularly, right, routinely, you're consistent, right? But then at the same time, you know, there's a lot of appreciation in an element of surprise, right? So meaning that if you surprise them, let's say with, you know, something out of the ordinary, so if you stop doing that routine thing, obviously it is you're being inconsistent, right? But if you surprise them, you know, and you and maybe let's say every month or something, without specific dates or without specific periods, you know, you become exciting and you become consistent in the surprise, right? And the moment you stop, you're not consistent. Now it means therefore that there's a level of inconsistency that comes with, you know, uh, in a routine behavior, but at the same time, an element of surprise in itself is unpredictable, right? You don't, someone doesn't wake up and say, please surprise me tomorrow, you know. But the moment you 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 start that element of surprising, if, whether it's in a work relationship, love relationship, or even for your children, friends, uh, and then maybe let's say you take a year or two, you know, then you're inconsistent. But then that aspect of the surprise itself is an inconsistency because it's unpredictable, right? But if it stops, and people are not able to experience that, then you're inconsistent. So again, it begs the question. So when, from what I'm thinking and observing this, and I mean, like, for me, I find that actually perhaps the consistency vis-a-vis inconsistency in itself is majorly, or by and large, a bone of perception, right? So that now, for the most part, if an action, or if an if something is positive, right, and it's done often, right, uh, that consistency, is is generally what people call as consistency. But then, if there's a negative element, right, I should say, if something is perceived negative, I don't know what example I could use, but uh, okay, let's say, for example, I decide not to take a shower every morning or every night, right? And I'm just consistent, and because I'm being consistent by not showering, right? Whether it's morning or or evening. Now, in as much as I'm being consistent, that consistency is undesirable, and hence, uh, because of the element of it being undesirable, it's you're perceived as being inconsistent in being clean, right? Or if again, if I decide, okay, for example, that okay, maybe these are a bit extreme examples, but I'm just thinking on my feet. If I say, okay, fine, I will not shave, it's just not, I just don't want to shave my hair, right? um I mean, I'm very consistent in not shaving, but because someone may perceive it again as a negative aspect of uh, either their partner or their friend or their workmate, they're like, hey, now that becomes some level of, you're not consistent in terms of your hygiene. So, I mean, I'd really love to know what what people out there think. But so for me, I'm thinking that to a good extent, there could be a big element, of actually being as being consistent in the inconsistency. Again, like I said, elements of surprise, or elements of, dressing different every day, that's an inconsistency in itself. But you're consistent in that. And if it is perceived positive, right? Because dressing different every day and looking fresh every day, especially different colors, different, people may not, before people think that I have 1,000 t-shirts of this nature, the first thing is, this guy is not, doing the exact same thing. It's boring. But if I change, I look fresh every day, wear something different, to work or even to this channel, then I'll be seen as, this guy has a fresh look every other time. But I'm being inconsistent, like I said. So, sorry, the alarm is back. So in that inconsistency of me, right, switching up what I'm wearing every day, I'm being very consistent. Again, it could be the same thing, if you exercise, if you wake up and exercise every day, because that's perceived as a positive consistency. By and large, there'll be no issue, But if you do the opposite, wake up, eat first thing in the morning, eat heavy carbs and stuff like that, you're consistent. Every 6 a.m. you just grab, two slices of bread and an omelette. You're being consistent. But that consistent, because it's undesirable, you will be seen as perhaps a person who's not consistent in looking after your health. So anyway, in my summary of this, and again, like I said, thank God the alarm is off. I think we are consistent in the there's a possibility we can be consistent by being inconsistent, and the consistency in itself, by and large, is a perception. So if it's perceived negative, most likely than not, you'll be perceived to be, inconsistent. But if it's perceived positive, most likely than not, you'll be perceived to be consistent. So, to be fair, I just really want to hear your thoughts. I'd love to know whether you think, perhaps I'm probably overthinking it, or, and I think that when it comes, again, like I said, to life, so we need to look at it, with a very flexible and open mind. Again, as we demand for consistency from people within our circles, we need to ask ourselves, what exactly is consistency in this particular situation? Do you even think about the other person, or the other people, in terms of perhaps what you perceive as consistency, right, may not necessarily be what they perceive as consistency, right? Or perhaps before you demand consistency, right, you also perhaps you need to step back and think, okay, what could it be that defines the consistency I'm looking for? Is it a negative? Do I perceive it negatively, positively? Is it something that could, in one way or the other, be different in the eyes of the other person, or what exactly am I demanding, or what exactly am I expecting? Because for the most part, you'll find yourself even in that expectation, right, being inconsistent. But in doing so, you're being consistent. So um, again, I'm always happy, and equally inspired. I watch these videos myself, and there's always something new to learn from some of the things that we share here. So please, it will mean a lot to hear your thoughts. You just let us know. Maybe there's I'm sure there are sort of different versions out there, or maybe there are like versions out there. So it will be a great opportunity of learning, if you had something out there, and you perceive it in a way that maybe is different from how I perceive it, and you could bless us with your knowledge. Again, like I said, happy to be always on this community, and looking forward to hearing from you, feedback, and on to the next one. Kwaheri, goodbye, and Mungu abariki, God bless you. Mungu abariki Africa, God bless Africa. Reach it out. Cheers.